to destroy that young man down there.
Exactly.
Because for them, their minds have been shifted and they have been nuclearized, quote unquote,
Yes.
so that they serve the interest of the women. Because when they go home, they subject to their wives.
Ah,
So
I got it.
They have to compensate that.
I got it. It's in the office where they become the man. It's the only place where they can both exercise and enjoy masculinity.
Yes.
Because in the home front, the prison warden is king. The prison warden is the masculine one. And they have no say there. But here in the office, they can now control both the young women and upcoming young men like you. Now they are in power, they're in position, they have a say, and they compensate for what they lost to the wife, the prison warden at home. They exercise it at work.
True.
And now you are caught in between that, unbeknown to you. Naturally, the woman wants to submit. Naturally, the woman wants to respect. Naturally, the woman wants to honor. Naturally, the woman wants to follow a man. But the man at home is the wrong man because she has dominated him. So now, the man at work becomes the guy she submits to, that she respects, that she honors, and she follows his direction. This same guy has his own wife, a version of this young woman at home that has denied him honor, respect, follow, and submission.
Yes.
So they are both in a symbiotic relationship where you satisfy my natural nature to follow a man, and I tickle your ego. And in exchange, the man gets the masculinity, he gets the feeling that he is on top, where he lacks it at home, and the woman gets the protection, and get the provision, and get the security of tenure, and get favors.
Yes.
And she is a willing participator.
Nice to meet you, Watson.
Thank you so much for your time, man. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the message you sent me. It activated a new fear. I have to upfront just say that. Man.
Yeah. Thank you, and you are very much welcome.
Yes, sir. So I want us to go straight to it, right?
Right away, bro.
I will read you a preface of the message you sent me, and we take it from there.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
You said, I am a young man who has walked through the fire of corporate betrayal and came out on the other side with my eyes wide open.
Yeah, that's true.
Tell me that story.
So, when I was about to join campus, I had a very rude awakening in my life. Because I grew up in the village.
Yeah.
So I just come to Nairobi, the city, to join campus for the first time in my life.
Yeah.
So, having been raised by my grandmother, both parents had passed away.
Yeah.
I had to adopt strategies to survive in the city as a man.
Yeah.
And to look on ways on which I can be able to support my grandmother back at home. So I go through campus, I do some small hustles here and there. I used to sell ice creams, I used to sell popcorns, and I navigated my way through campus.
Yeah.
So my journey in campus was a philosophical journey. whereby I started to focus much more on philosophy, to read about the nature of life,
Yeah.
to read about Christianity, to read about atheists and what they were exposing, human nature, Robert Greene, Balthazar Gracian, and I placed that aside now when I finished campus, and I had a dream to now get into the workforce like any other young person, the way we have been conditioned and codified by the society, and work our hustle, believing that when you reach at the age of 22, now when you are lucky enough to get a job and you work hard, and you by the age of 25 you will have a small car, you will have a wife, and you love your children, the American, so to speak,
The American dream.
Dream life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was half blue pill, half red pill. So I get into I finished campus, and then I was very lucky now through a program, Global Futures program. I went to the
Global Futures program.
Yes.
I have heard of it. I've heard of the Global Futures program. Yeah. So
sorry?
it took you to the United States.
Yeah. So and I was fortunate now when I finished campus.
Yeah.
Through the Global Leaders Futures program.
Yeah.
I went to Arizona State University. In Tempe.
Yeah.
Maricopa County.
Yes.
With
the notorious sheriff.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I did my program there.
What did you study?
Oh, I just went to do a program. I focused on sustainable food production.
Yes.
And environmental conservation.
This is the program that was sponsored by the Global Futures.
Yes. So now it was at the advent of the Sustainable Development Goals, where the United Nations was focusing on the global south and possibly to reduce abject poverty in Africa.
Yeah.
And to abolish it completely by 2050. Yeah, so they were adopting young Africans now and trying to train them on how they can do to take the skills back home. So I finished my program. I went there. I graduated in December of 2022.
Okay.
On the 19th of December, and then January, February, March, April, May, June, I come back
to Kenya.
So July, August. I'm now trying to shape my life and focus on how I can be able to now get a job now.
Yeah.
And then I get a job in October.
Yeah.
In one of the multinational corporations in the country. So I get there with only one target. How can I work hard, use my skills, use my competencies to go up the ladder? Because I was very clear in my mind that I wanted one day to be a CEO in one of the companies.
Yeah.
So I had that plan, I had that dream, and I just wanted a favorable environment now.
To enable you to do that.
To enable me to do that. So I get into the company, and then I'm assigned to my supervisor.
Yeah.
And then my supervisor as an assistant, who is a young lady in her early 30s.
Yeah.
So my supervisor is in his early 50s also. Man, I can tell you without any shadow of doubt, this person was the most friendly person I have ever met.
He was the most what?
He was the most friendly person, the most friendly, the most pleasant person. Now my supervisor.
Yeah.
So, hello?
And how old are you at the time?
My age?
Yes.
At that particular time, I was 23 years old.
Way.
Yeah, I was 23 years old.
Yeah.
And I knew where I came from.
Yes.
And in fact, during that particular time is where now I started to get into close contact with the content of Andrew Kibe and Kevin Samuel and Rollo Tomasi.
Uh-huh.
So I also did a fair bit of due diligence, did my research on how I can be able to conduct myself in the corporate working environment. And I hit the road.
With the soft skills.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I knew how to play the game.
Yeah.
But I wanted to rely on my skills.
Yes.
And my competency.
Yeah.
Because I had an ambition. So I'm working here, but I see there is something that is very uncomfortable to this assistant, to my supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
He looks at me, he's not comfortable with how I work because I deliver on time. I make sure that I write reports, I contribute to the meetings where I'm needed to contribute, and I come up with new strategies.
Yeah.
That help in improving now the company's objective, in achieving the company's objectives.
With the best intentions.
With the best intentions at heart.
Yeah.
I was very friendly. I was very good with the customers, with the clients who are coming. I used to speak to them well. I used to welcome them.
Yeah.
So I was the I was the rising young man, and I was the new kid on the block.
Yeah.
So things didn't didn't go the way I thought. Because now, as I was now continuing with my work,
yeah,
I realized that there was a system that was there. There was a way, there was a modus operandi. There is a way of operation, and this way of operation was not in line with my nature and my personality
and your principles.
And my principles,
yeah.
Because mediocrity and feminine energy trumped merit there.
Yeah.
So I looked around, I saw most of the men that I wanted to look up to, they were not that much inspiring to me in terms of taking responsibility. You know, the leadership acumen was lacking, and the blame games and this cheekiness was so prevalent in that place in such a way that I remained like an orphan in an organization.
So you found
the setups now kicked in.
You found there is a clique, and they have their own way of doing things, and you are not fitting into it.
That is true.
Yeah.
And you know, actually, if you look at it in a masculine point of view,
yeah,
there was no big distinction between the men and the women.
Uh-huh.
They were same because they're operating on the feminine wavelength.
Well.
Because even when I sat back and I used to sometimes, hear about the cases that were being solved between men and women. There were cases that I don't think men should have caught themselves in.
Mm-hmm.
So I was flabbergasted by the whole structure, the whole scenario, the whole way of life. But I had a dream to pursue, so I remained focused.
And when you say they were operating at the wavelength of the woman, that's what Kibe calls operating at the speed of woman.
Perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah.
He nailed it on the head. So as I was working, now the setups now started, but they were subtle at first.
Yeah.
So my supervisor will assign me very impossible deadlines.
Yeah.
And then some of the company's resources and merchandise used to now start getting lost mysteriously.
Uh-huh.
And then when I looked at the assistant, so critical information used to pass me, but when I asked my supervisor, he tells me that he had assigned the assistant to tell me. When I go to the assistant, she tells me, go back to your supervisor. So
Oh my God.
I now started to see through the game.
They are playing ping pong game on you. Intentionally.
On me, so that to make me competent.
Yes.
And then the meetings are scheduled without my knowledge, so that I miss them, so that the managers can know that I missed them deliberately.
Man.
And then they start accusing me now that I'm not being a team player, and they use all these imperatives of you're not being flexible, you should be a team player.
God. They set you up to fail.
Yes, you're set up for failure. And the main objective was to break me, to dim my light, so that the mediocrity that is the substructure of the organization can remain intact. Because when you work hard, when you push the envelope so far, then mediocrity is exposed. And that is a problem.
And you're threatening the status quo.
Yes, they have to preserve it.
Yeah.
So I came and I asked myself several questions, and during those times where now I think during that phase, Kibe was in the US, Kibe was in the US, and now I was really following the conversation, trying to find solutions about men, and your conversations really inspired me. And I knew at that particular point there is a statement that you made, Ike Watson, that as a man, you are by yourself.
Yes.
And you are by yourself alone, and that is enough.
Yes. Yes.
So I used to go back to work, and I looked at this person, and what really was striking was that he was the most religious person in the organization.
The immediate supervisor.
Yes, very religious.
Mm-hmm.
And at this particular time now, I came to realize also that now his character was validating my readings.
Yeah.
You see, because I had already read about Karl Marx speaking about religion being the opium of the masses, and for him he was using it for his own advantage.
Yes. Yes.
So that people cannot be able to see beneath the surface on some of the things that he's scheming and some of the things that he's doing.
Exactly.
And all these things, actually, I realized he was doing to please others.
Yeah.
And for me, I had already shattered that stage of my life. I was not there to please anyone. I was there to work and achieve my objectives and pursue my dream.
Man.
So this woman was very manipulative.
Yeah.
And actually, I realized that they are in corporate. The most manipulative beings are women.
Yes. That's their playground. That's their
Extraordinary.
playground. Yes.
They have perfected that heart.
Yeah. Yep.
And for them to strive, chaos must exist in one way or the other, because manipulation has to thrive in chaos.
Exactly. And they manufacture the chaos.
Yes, it is manufactured deliberately.
Yes.
And when it comes to now promotion, it is pushed to a side where charm now takes the upper hand, not results. And any person who doesn't play the gallery is labeled.
Yes.
And you can even be labeled that you are aggressive.
Yes.
And uncivilized.
Does not work well with others.
Yes.
Yeah. Not a team player. Not a team player is the lingo, is the corporate lingo.
It is the corporate lingo, and it is used time and again.
Yeah.
So after months of sabotage to me, and after self-reflection, because I realized that there was part of me that was getting lost in all this drama. And I realized also that my goose was cooked. Yeah. So I decided that I cannot let them define me and get into my head, so that I play the same game back and forth.
Yeah.
And I also realized that they wanted me to play into the gallery and hate them.
Yeah.
And become resentful and bitter.
Yes.
And I said to myself, I cannot take that route. I have to focus on the goal. So I decided to resign.
Man.
And I walked away from that soulless machine. Because corporate environment is a soulless machine.
They have succeeded in frustrating you now.
Yes, there is no humanity. They remove your soul, you become a machine, you sabotage each other.
Yeah.
And for you to thrive, the one who manipulates best, survives best, and is the one who is promoted.
Yes. And the women are playing to the bosses. They are
playing to the bosses.
They are exchanging sexual favors for promotions and for security of tenure and for protection.
That is the modus operandi. That is the modus operandi.
Yeah.
And I think everyone knows about this, but they just keep quiet so that they can play. They can be politically correct. But there is a language there called office politics.
Mm-hmm.
So what really struck me was, there are some of these conversations that you eavesdrop. You are just doing your work, and then you get to listen. So and so are in relationship. So and so, and this person has aborted.
Yeah.
And this person has gone haywire with the boss.
Yeah.
And what have we? So you listen to these conversations, and you come and you look at the people who are supposedly doing all these things. They don't look like what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But the things that they do are very terrible.
These are the happily married men, the observant Christians, the most religious of them all.
Yes, I'm telling you. They quote the Bible, they pray each and every morning.
Yes.
And they flirt with the young girls. These ladies that you see, they are very beautiful. They speak very good English.
Yeah.
They mentor within those corporate ladders. When you meet them, you see they are very polished. Man, the skeleton in the closet is not worth its weight on gold.
Man. Now you are enforcing the message I sent the other day to young men at the age of 30. For them to climb the corporate ladder, they have to navigate those difficult waters of figuring out how to work with superiors and how to work with others and how to work under authority and how to work under supervision. And the woman does not need to do any of those. All she has to do is front her sexual market value. And it does the talking for her. It does the doing for her. It does the favors for her. And there are men in their 50s that are willing to bend over backward to favor this woman and sacrifice you for her sake, which is now exactly what happened.
That is perfectly true. And if you stand, if your ambition stands in the path of the woman, you will be eliminated.
You are a threat. You are a threat. You are mainstream. You came to the corporate world to do the right thing. They are not there to do the right thing. They are there to protect their interest. And for them to protect their interest, they have to vet you to see if you have the same ideologies, if you have the same principles. And unbeknown to you, you go out there and collect all this knowledge and information and skill set, and you are so clear-eyed and so excited and so energetic to go serve. And then you get to the corporate world and you learn, oh no, people don't come here to serve. They come here to protect their interests. They come here to gatekeep. They come here to create a system through which only them, and they create even their own language, only them can survive there, because you have a different objective which aligns with the face value of the corporate world. But inside there are some other cliques and other politics and other ideologies that you're not privy to, and none of those ideologies are geared towards the common goal of the corporation. They are there for themselves. And you now, a 23-year-old fresh guy with the energy and the information, you are a threat to that. And you failed the test in the last few months. You went there, participated in giving ideas and being energetic and giving suggestions and volunteering and standing up and speaking up. They are like, this one here is a danger. Bro.
Very true.
The same thing that you are prepared to do is the same thing that is being rejected at the very top of the corporate world. The very same thing. And it only applies to you as a man. Those things do not touch women. Only you as a young man. Man.
George, that is very true. You are really nailing it on the head.
Man.
And then you know what is really striking?
Yeah.
Is that we men are the ones who bring fellow men down, because we find that those men on the upper echelons of leadership and management in this corporate, they're the ones who collude with these women to put now the systems and the structures that you have alluded to, to destroy that young man down there.
Exactly.
Because for them, their minds have been shifted and they have been nuclearized, quote unquote, so that they serve the interest of the women. Because when they go home, they subject to their wives.
I got it.
They have to compensate that.
I got it. It's in the office where they become the man. It's the only place where they can both exercise and enjoy masculinity.
Yes.
Because in the home front, the prison warden is king. The prison warden is the masculine one, and they have no say there. But here in the office, they can now control both the young women and upcoming young men like you. Now they are in power, they're in position, they have a say, and they compensate for what they lost to the wife, the prison warden at home. They exercise it at work.
True.
And now you are caught in between that, unbeknown to you.
That is true.
Oh my God.
So you see, there is a conflict in the psyche of this man.
Yeah.
Because at home, the wife doesn't listen to him.
Correct.
But when he comes to work, this lady listens to him. This lady respects him. This lady is his subordinate.
My.
So the Kinudia in him is triggered now to protect this lady, because it is in the man's nature to protect women. Now, it is quote unquote in another lingua now, so to speak, Captain Save a Ho, quote unquote, so to protect the interest of this lady now. Because at home, he doesn't get it. So you are the one who is standing in the way of him getting his psyche being triggered by this lady. So he has to protect that interest also, that emotional wash that is striped when the lady now submits to him because of his position.
So there is this symbiotic relationship between the corporate man and the corporate woman. And where the woman, the corporate woman, denies the man at home submission, honor, follow, and honor.
Yes.
She is giving it to this man who has been denied by his own version of her at home.
True.
And now the interchange happens at the corporate level.
And that is how they thrive now. That is what keeps them going. That's what keeps them moving.
He gets his power at work that was denied to him at home. And she gets to exercise the submission, the honor, the respect, the follow at work, which she has denied the man at home.
That is very true.
Jesus Christ.
Because you know, it is inbuilt. The woman, no matter how much outspoken she is, she's craving to submit.
Yes.
The man also wants to exercise, is craving to exercise authority and power. And where does all these interface lines at work?
Naturally, the woman wants to submit. Naturally, the woman wants to respect. Naturally, the woman wants to honor. Naturally, the woman wants to follow a man. But the man at home is the wrong man because she has dominated him. So now, the man at work becomes the guy she submits to, that she respects, that she honors, and she follows his direction. This same guy has his own wife, a version of this young woman at home that has denied him honor, respect, follow, and submission.
Yes.
So they are both in a symbiotic relationship where you satisfy my natural nature to follow a man, and I tickle your ego. And in exchange, the man gets the masculinity, he gets the feeling that he is on top, where he lacks it at home, and the woman gets the protection, and get the provision, and get the security of tenor, and get favors.
Yes.
And she is a willing participator.
Yes.
Holy.
And all this is covered by a veneer of God.
Yes.
A veneer of religiosity.
Yes.
And a veneer of moral superiority now, so that it is not to be seen the way it is.
I call it African Christian hypocrisy. It's the best cover that has ever happened to the African man, to the African population. The cover of religion is the one that gives them the veil of hypocrisy. Underneath there, under that veil, they can be, they can do, they can become anything, because the front of the veil is religion.
Yes.
As long as they are praying before the job starts. As long as there is a Bible verse at the back of the office as long as there are some family pictures propped in the right position at his desk, then he's covered. He's a decent family man. And nobody will ever question this symbiotic relationship that is happening here.
That is very true. But this man also, even in the same context, this man also, when he goes back home, he faces all this humiliation. But when he comes outside, he puts up a smiling face, and on Sunday, he takes the wife with matching clothes, together with their kids, they go to church. So they put a facade of the perfect family man, the perfect family woman, and that everything is going on well, and they have to be emulated by the society.
Exactly.
But the devil is in the detail.
The shining pillar, the shining example of the perfect family man, the one who has scaled the ladders of the socio-economic system and has emerged at the top with a beautiful home, a picket fence, and 2.5 children, and an adoring wife, in quotes. Who wouldn't want that?
Them, every person wants that, George. But if you look at them keenly, when you look at their faces, when you look at the face of the man, there is deep emotional baggage. There is deep emotional baggage. And there is also identity conflict that this person is struggling with. And that's why you find that this person doesn't want to be home. It's rather he is at work. And he gets that stimulation at work. And when he leaves work, it's better he goes to the bar first, so that he can be able to
face the
put himself in a position
to face the prison warden at home.
Yeah.
My goodness. You know, we have always looked at the corporate woman, the woman that would deny her energy to the man, and she instead expanded to the boss at work and expanded to the pastor at church. But we have never interrogated that man at work that she submits to. We have never, until now, interrogated that man. What is going on in his own world? What facade is he putting on to fool the society? What is he compensating? Holy moly. And now tell me, what amount of danger that man is packing at the office?
That man is a danger to the society.
What amount of danger is that man packing at the office? Because he has everything to protect. Right?
Yes.
He is at the top edge of his life, at the tail end of his career. So he now needs to protect his retirement package. He has a position to protect until he retires. Then he has this masculinity ego stroke that he's getting from this younger woman, the energy she is giving him. And now you insert yourself in there. You become the imminent threat. What kind of danger is that man to the younger, upcoming man that is just now joining the corporate world at the age of 23?
And you know, this young man, like for example, when you are a young man and you are getting into the corporate world, you realize now that you are the scapegoat. You are the scapegoat now. So everything is you. Now what happens is you can take this scapegoat frame that is given into you, and you understand that you have thrived in the corporate world. But another thing that happens is, in the context of that symbiotic relationship, anything that goes bad in his home now, this boss, he has to bring this frustration and channel them to you. This woman also has to come with the frustrations from home.
Yes.
And she has to dump them somewhere. She has to dump them to you, because you are now the scapegoat. You are now the punching bag now in the office.
And let me rewind the tape. He brings his own frustration from his wife, from his home, from his own dysfunctional family. He brings them to work, and the person who suits him is the young woman assistant. She herself comes with her own baggages from her own relationship, whatever they are. But she knows better not to dump those on the boss, because the boss depends on her taking the role of the soothing wife that is absent and is the source of the frustration. So for her to be able to perform those duties at work, she has to offload her own baggages on you, so they don't seep to the boss where the symbiotic relationship is.
Yes.
Whoa.
And then there is a trend that you will also see that is emerging, whereby now, for example, and this is what now I started when I was leaving. That's why I said that you have to fight very hard not to break their gallery of becoming bitter, becoming resentful, and hating them, and also or becoming like them and joining them, because you find that now when these women now they take center stage into the matrix of the corporate environment, they will advocate deliberately for more women to be brought into the corporate world. That's why you see advertisements. People with disability and women or females are highly encouraged to apply. So they want more women, so that when they are in group, the herd mentality, when they are in group and there are other women who adopt the same mentality and adopt the same lifestyle, they will now be frustrated in a group, so that now they are not isolated, because when you are alone, you can take responsibility. But now when you see the other person also suffering from the same issues that you're suffering, how much innate they are, now you can console yourself. So that is why now they want many young women to be lured to get into this market. And this is what I think, for me, is destroying the family structure. I think in Africa today, look at the context of most corporates, and even in America, where you are, George, it is crazy as far as the Black American independent woman is concerned.
So let's unpack that. You said that this assistant to the boss, if she was isolated and there were no other women, she would be broken by the demands of the boss. But if they bring other young women into the job, then she is in a pool of other women that are getting the same symbiotic relationship with their own supervisors. And because women talk, women compare notes, and women share their secrets, then they find out that whatever they are doing is not just unique to them. It's part of the game to survive in the corporate world. And as long as their interests are met, then together, in that now you are calling herd mentality, they soldier on and they continue fostering these arrangements with their supervisors.
Yes. And then that's also as an downside to each IQ. Because now, when that happens, simultaneously, the young man is being destroyed, because now his ambition has to be curtailed for the ambition of this woman to serve. And then this man has to now bring his emotional baggage and dump it somewhere. And the person is this young man, and the woman also, because of women are not designed to live that way, but the society has codified them and conditioned them that way. So obviously they are strained, so the pressure is on their shoulders. They have to dump it on this young man also. Otherwise, the pressure should be on the hips. They should be taking care of their families. Now, because of that pressure, this man has to be destroyed as much as possible. Now, what happens is, now you see that this young man is frustrated. his ambition is curtailed.
Yes.
He's demotivated, but the woman has been given this hurry of power at the expense of her own femininity.
Yes.
Now, this woman, in exchange to that, he gets a paycheck. Now, this paycheck will tell her that this man is not in the same level with me as a woman now because I get this paycheck. My emotional baggages and my femininity notwithstanding. Now I can be independent. I don't need a man.
Yeah.
I can be independent
Yeah.
and I can take care of myself.
Yes.
And now when they go into that direction,
Yes.
you find the family structure, yes, the family structure goes haywire. And now when a man tries to get into a relationship with that lady, they will get into that relationship. And when now all these demons are revived, this man will see that this relationship is not tenable, and he will have to now, for example, pay alimony, the child support, if that is the route that they have taken, or he will have to be destroyed and shattered completely if he doesn't get your knowledge, Mr. IQ, or the knowledge of Mr. Andrew Kibe, or maybe the Red Pill community.
Yeah.
So there is no guidance there for young men. That's why people like you, when you come up, you speak about these issues that are affecting the society. It is very important. It is not something that should be taken lightly. You are doing a very good job. It's only that you are not recognized, you are not being told what you are doing because of the codification and the conditioning on the society. Because people thrive in that chaos, and they are the people we have talked about.
And this woman, where you said when she gets a paycheck, it amplifies her to a position of potential freedom. And even when she may need a man to supplement that income, that man is already available at work and is more than willing to bend over backwards to either extend that supplement or to jack her up at the corporate ladder so that she earns that money that she needs to bridge the gap. And on the flip side now, when you're saying that the family unit is dismantled, the man who should be age appropriate for this woman has been denied the access to provide because her chances of going up the corporate ladder are being curtailed by these two. And so even when she needs to settle with a man, that man is not available in her pool. It has to be the man at the office, somebody else's man, who is also having his own limitations at home and need this woman to complement and stroke his ego. And so he is willing to go out of his way to meet those needs. And the man that is starting life, the young man that has a dream of settling down with a woman, he is denied access to the pathway to build himself. And so he remains unrealized.
Yes, that is true. Now, when this man, and then if you stretch it further, if you expand on it, you find that this is a broken man.
Yeah.
Now, when a whole woman passes across, then for this old woman, in most cases knows the vulnerability of this man, young man.
Yes.
So that you find out that this man will find refuge in the arms of this old woman.
Yes.
And it's something that we have seen it. We have seen it a lot.
Yes.
In America and also in East Africa, especially when it comes to musicians and our celebrities.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So they find refuge now to cure the frustration that they went through.
Yes.
And make it worse when maybe they came from a single mother's household. So that is a double tragedy. But it is a chain reaction effect. And it is one thing leading to the other, and it's a network of webs. You know. So that's why now me listening to you, me listening to Andrew, has really pushed me to improve on myself as a man now. So I looked at everything that had happened, and now I decided now to improve myself and start from the bottom. And I was very privileged to now start a business, artifacts business, and I've been pushing it. And also I was fortunate now to apply for a consultancy job in Australia, and I was given the offer letter. But I will be starting in September because I'm working on my certifications on so as to improve my skills, and I'm just also looking forward to continuing with my business, even if it is now expanding it in Australia when I go there, and I can keep the spirit, I can keep the same brotherhood, I can keep the same knowledge that you guys have passed to us, as we try to make our lives better.
And you can go to a place where your energy and your skill sets are appreciated and wanted and needed.
Yes. And I can also start my own business so that I can get out of the matrix at the right time.
Man, what a journey!
Because
what a lesson!
Yeah.
How long did you stay? Go ahead.
Oh, because I also sorry for that distraction and me interjecting, but what I wanted to say is that I realized that for me as a man also, it's good to, if you're a man, you have to build something for yourself. There is no better joy that you can get when you build something for yourself. Maybe you build your own business, you're running your own thing, there is a joy that you get out of it, because that is what I started. And I am really enjoying the journey. Because I also understand one business doctrine, that when you go to work, you don't go to work so that you can get money.
No.
To cater for your expenses.
No.
If you are a wise man, you go to work to get money to improve your skills.
Yes.
And start your trade.
Yes.
Then you can be a free, independent man.
It's a stepping stone, and you have to continually improve upon yourself. And the thing you say there, the joy you get when you build and you create. I want to insert the Bible there. When God created the world, the Bible records that says He stepped back, looked at everything, and it looked perfect. That is the joy. That is the pride.
Yeah.
That is the
and that is the true.
The ego of God.
That is the true genius.
Yes.
That is the true genius of man. That
exactly.
Is the true genius of man.
Now, that is now in a genie bottle, the essence of man.
Yes.
The creator, the builder, the solution solver, the one that steps back and say, I did that. That's the God in you.
Because George, I remember one thing you also said, that you came into terms with the fact that there are some people who are placed by the universe to just be obstacles, to just cause you trouble, to just come and distract you.
Yes.
And they thrive in that chaos.
Yes.
And they're in this world.
Yes.
Now, one of the ways to deal with them is by dealing with yourself. And now, working on your own terms. And for you to work on your own terms, you have to build your own structures on what you are doing at your own individual level, so that you don't care what people say outside. You don't care how people judge you outside.
Yes.
You are God to yourself. You are answerable to yourself.
Exactly.
So you don't have to be answerable to the society which has conditioned you within the bounds of rules and laws that doesn't work for you as a man.
Yes.
You go by that, but it doesn't work for you. You flow by the river, but the river doesn't serve you. It serves the interests of others.
Exactly.
So you have to look for a way to bend the river to work for you, so that you can be a free, independent, sovereign man. And that is only that is the point where now you can even think of taking care of a family if you want to have one. Otherwise, I think all these things, pushing the envelope and trying to get married, living by the codification of the society is a total, it's just the way you place it, and no one can put it better than you place it.
You have to always be very conscious in always looking for a bigger problem to solve. If you find yourself being comfortable in the situation you are in, you are stagnating from your growth. You are plateauing in your growth. That is not the way of the man. And you are alluding to this fact I posted the other day, and I said those people, they have given up on their lives, and they have appointed themselves as the dream killers. And the story behind that, and I'll say it very quickly. The perfect plan of God was to have his son with his wife Satan. And then Satan upended him by bypassing and hastening that process by going to Adam and Eve and telling Eve, hey, you need to find out about sexuality with this guy. And so that plan was disrupted. And so what happened is God created a second plan. And I'm only saying this to show everybody, even God struggles in his way of life. That struggle men face, it's also from God. If God struggles, we struggle. If God gets manipulated by his wife, we get manipulated by our women. Because we are an image and likeness of God. So everything that happened to God has also to be updated in us. So now God's plan, the perfect plan to have a son in heaven with his wife, is getting disrupted by the intervention of the woman who had manipulated him to create a woman, Eve, in her own image. And unknown to God at the time, this woman had a plan to bypass the birth of Jesus. So what does he do? He gets everybody out of the way, and he starts crafting a new plan. And now the wife, with her now modern evil that we know of, she turned a third of the population of the angels. The Bible calls them the sons of God. It's very confusing when the Bible says sons of God. Those are the fallen angels. It's the third of the population of the angels in heaven. Satan turned them against God because she knew God was having this new plan to try to have his son in this world as we know it. So she turned a third of the population, sent them down here on earth with the instruction to repopulate with the women of the world. There's a noise in your background.
That is true. That is perfect.
So, see, she sent these sons of God to populate with a woman, with the natural human women. And the product of those foreign angels and the natural woman is what are called the Ephraimims. And the job of the Ephraimims is to delay the birth of Jesus Christ. And so now God, a new struggle for him, sends Angel Gabriel and Angel Michael to come fight the Ephraimims so that they can diminish that influence of the Ephraimims in delaying the birth of Christ. And when they had won the battle on behalf of God, and they have defeated these foreign angels, the sons of God, then they say, mission is complete, now we can proceed. And now the process is to get a woman who is innocent, Virgin Mary. And now Gabriel goes and talks to her and tell her, now this is now the admissible plan of God. The whole time God wanted to have a son for himself. And now Mary gives birth to that son. And because the blood of the covenant between the woman that God had created under the influence of the woman, the hymen in the woman, in the innocence of the woman, when it's broken, that's when the covenant, the blood of the breaking of the hymen in virginity, that blood is the covenant between the woman and Satan. And for them to bypass that covenant They had to look for a virgin woman so that the baby is on the inside. There is no penetration to put the baby in the womb. The baby is already on the inside. And when he is getting born, he is pushing out that barrier, that hymen that is waiting for the covenant between woman and Satan. And that's how the Bible says that Christ faced sin head on. And now that is the rebirth. I'm only saying this to show you there is nothing easy for a man, because it was not even easy for God himself in his own plan to create a son for himself. And that's where we are now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So the job of the man is to continually improve upon himself and to always want to win, always want to conquer, always want to create, always want to build, and then step back. And just like God on the day 6, when everything was perfect, says, I did that. And I'm looking at everything and it looks perfect. Like an architecture, looking at a building they just finished. Like an artist at a drawing they just created. Like an engineer at a bridge that they have created from nothing and have changed everything. That is the role of the man. And you are not alone. God has gone through that in his own dysfunctional family.
True. Yeah. And also in the same context, you find that the distractions, the roadblocks, the false starts that happen, are brought by weak men, because they fall into the desire of women, and this desire is the desire of him.
Yes. And those are the ones in that post you are referring to. Those are the ones I called the remnants of the Nephilims.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because even if you look at biblical literature very well, you will note that most of the most evil phenomena that are recorded are associated with women. Look at Jezebel. Look at the wife of Samson.
Yes.
You know, how he tricked Samson. So look at Eve, tricking the first man created by God. You can imagine the first man created by God being tricked. So it's also something that has to be taken in the context of the modern man.
Yeah.
The way you spoke about it before. And the desire of the modern woman.
Yes.
And how the two come up and fashion a way in which they thrive at the expense of the mission and the purpose of man. So this has to die for this other institution to thrive. And this institution brings a lot of chaos to the world. And we don't want to listen to the conversation of the solution to this problem here. And when you try to come with this solution or push this conversation, you are cancelled.
Yes.
You are thrown into the periphery. You are called a misogynist. So that is something that men are struggling with, and that is the position now. Why we take the position, why we celebrate you, and we celebrate the like-minded individuals, also like Andrew, who have stepped out of the matrix, and they have started to telling men that this is the way.
Yeah.
Not this way, because this way you have tried, it is not working.
Yeah.
Now, can you try this other way? And it is something that people who thrive in this environment that you have talked about doesn't take it easily, and they don't very much like it.
Yeah. And there needs to be that consciousness in a man that there is nothing easy for a man. Nothing is going to come easy. Things that get easy are for women, and you don't want those things. The joy is in overcoming adversity. The joy is in solving problems. The joy is in overcoming obstacles. Right now, at 23, you are dealt these evil human beings at the corporate world. Now, you overcame all that. and you have found your purpose, and you have found your direction, and your star is shining, and you are headed to a foreign land with the promise of success and promise of greatness and promise of flourishing. That now is the foundation that you needed. That success on the other side is what was being prepared for you in this struggle, in the murky waters that have been created by the weak man and the evil woman. Now you can step back and bask at the glory of overcoming. That is the essence of man.
Yeah, that is true. And even when you look at Curtis Jackson, the third 50 Cent,
Yeah.
one of his favorite quotes is get rich or
Die trying. Yes.
You have to either get rich or die trying.
Yeah.
But die on your purpose. Die on your purpose.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's why we also qualify the end justifies the means, or the means justify the ends, depending on the perspective at which you're looking at it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So you find the earlier men are awakening to these truths of the society.
Yeah.
They awaken to these ideas, and quote unquote, they are red pill. The better you see their lives improving, especially when now they get this information at a tender age, maybe when they are 18, they are 19, so they make good decisions.
Yeah.
They can even make this good decision whether going to campus is something that works for them or not. Whether they want to start a trade, like for example, for someone like me, you see, I burned 4 years in campus.
Yeah.
But I could have done better. So something that if I had started earlier, this is what I'm doing, and the experiences that now I have now, if I had started earlier, I could be very much far ahead.
Yes.
And I could have also gauged whether corporate was good for me or not. So I could have been better. That's why, for me, I'm one of the great people who support you and support the work that you are doing.
Yeah.
And I'm saying it is not for granted. Many people come sometimes and they speak a lot, but through your life, through the transformation that you have taken, but they don't know your story, George. They don't know where you came from. They don't know the struggles that you have gone through, but they think they are entitled to talk about your life. You ask yourself, the
good thing about me is 99.9999% of what anybody would claim they know about me, I am the one who told them about me.
That is true.
I have never had somebody telling me something about me that I don't know, or that I am not the one who said it. Nothing. And we can interrogate it logically, and I encourage it.
Yeah.
I invite it. But if you're going to stay on the side of the fact, I craft my own story for a reason, very deliberate, very intentional. I am the one to tell my own story, because that is the MY in it is me. And nobody can tell my story better than I can. Yeah.
Sure. And you are the master of your own destiny.
Exactly.
Just like that's why.
And briefly, you went ahead of myself there for a minute. I wanted you to speak.
Sorry?
When you mentioned about the 19-year-old choosing whether to go to college or to pursue a skill set, you went ahead of me there for a minute, because I wanted you to speak directly to that 19-year-old, to that 23-year-old.
Yeah. So for me, I will. One of the challenges that we are facing today, you find that in our modern world today, because of the structures that have been put in place deliberately and the systems, the family structure is broken and it's no longer tenable as perceived during the 19th century and going back.
Yeah.
So you find most of young people are brought up by single mothers, for example.
Yeah.
They don't have male role models. They are brought up in town, and they don't have that person they can look up to, the male figure. So they are lost in all these chaos of the corporate world and the illusion that you have been given to get into debt, help, and go to the university and study, and then after that it gives you the ticket to tarmac for several years before you get a job that doesn't align with your passion, doesn't align with your strength, and you get yourself into the murky waters of maybe corporate. And when you wake up, maybe you are 40 years old and you are confused actually. You have a wife who doesn't love you, and she makes a hell out of your life, and you have to pay alimony and child support because now you have kids with this wife of yours now. So to the 18-year-old, to the 19-year-old, I'm reaching to them. Now let me speak to them directly because I've been there. I'm reaching to them from my heart. You have to have that personal reflection of your life. You have to accept your circumstances. Most of us, we try to push it away and blame others. Let us take that responsibility. This blame game doesn't help. You want to say that if you are an orphan, that I am suffering because of I don't have parents or because I don't have resources. No, you have to take this life into your own hands. Look at the possibility of what you want to achieve in life. Open up your mind, do research. AI is a revolution in itself. For example, Mr. George, you can do a lot with AI, and you can decide whether you want to go and pursue undergraduate degree, and if it will help you, for example, for medicine, or if you want to go and do law, then well and good, but don't go and do BCom, don't go and do liberal arts courses.
Communications.
At yours. Yes, and communication. Look at your strengths. Look at what you can, how you can improve on your skills to monetize your skills, and you get ahead of very many people. And I'm speaking as someone who bought into the idea and went to campus, and really, it is not worth it. It doesn't work because if you look at the US even today, Trump is considering of empowering trade schools and removing the grants that is given to Ivy League institutions. I'm not saying that Ivy League institutions are bad, but as a man, you have to reach to the depths of your passion and see how you can be able to pursue your mission in this life. If it is skills or trade, or you want to pursue undergraduate, but you have to be the master of your own destiny. You are your own God. Everything flows within you as a man. And that is something that has not been passed to many young men. And then another thing that I want to pass to most young men is that you have to look for mentors. The hero-making machine in the world today has been broken. You find that most of the heroes that you celebrate are celebrities who are being used by brands, for example. They are wearing dresses to advertise so that they can be able to get, gigs and put money in their pockets. They are bringing in ideas that conflate the man nature in us. You see, so we see them as the hero because that is what the society and the system has put to us. The hero-making machine is not tenable today. It doesn't favor the man today. So I think we should look deep and look at our heroes. Who are our heroes? You have to define our heroes as young as we are. Maybe be it we are 18 years, we are 19, we are 20. We have to look at our heroes and we have to listen to what this other side of the conversation is saying, what George is saying, what Andrew is saying. We should not be blinded. We should not be narrow-minded. We should use our experiences, our lives to better our societies, and it all starts with us because we bear the burden of performance as men. So I think that is what I can tell them, and you can revive at any time. The good thing about a man, at any age, you can click it and you can turn everything around, and you can start at any age. Yeah, I think that is something that most men are not made aware of. You can revive your life at an instance, so that at least you can be able to do something that pushes your purpose closer to God, because you are the God. Yeah, so I think that's my parting shot to the young men who are out there.
Very, very, very well said. Very well said. The only thing I'm going to add on what you said, that a man can start at any stage. The only thing I'm going to add, that ability, that opportunity to restart, to reset, also requires discipline. Discipline is the main ingredient in that. You can be anything, you can become anything, you can start at any stage, but you have to be disciplined. You have to be consistent, you have to be diligent, and you have to be honest. You don't just restart because you are a man, because men restart. No. You restart because you have the drive, you have the hunger, you have the discipline to stay the course and start and learn something new and submit to new information and new ways of doing things at any stage. If you do those things, if you're disciplined, if you're driven, if you're diligent, and you are honest, then you can fail 7 times and you still rise 8 times. Discipline.
Yeah, that is true.
Discipline.
And I think also, Mr. George, integrity is a very critical component for a man in our age today. It is something that has been understated, but honesty is something that really can take you places.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you live your life with absolute integrity, and kindness to your priorities, then I think you can go places.
Look at all the opportunities presented by the technology apps in Kenya. And the only thing that destroys people from participating in them, whether it's Uber or Glovo or Uber Eats, is honesty. That's it. Honesty. I keep saying there is huge demand and short supply of honesty. And that legendary saying, making the first million, it has never been easier to make your first million than it is now, because there is so much demand and so much demand for and short supply of honesty. If you start out as the one to be trusted, as the one to be relied upon, as the one to be believed, as the one to step in the gap and filling that emptiness that is plaguing the society, you have won 51% of the battle. You have gained 51% of the business. That ingredient is missing. You see people failing because they cannot be honest. People, the cases of Uber in Kenya, the cancer is honesty. Uber Eats, Glovo, regular businesses. You go there, you set up the price. You get the customer who is willing to pay for the price that you set up. And then you still want to do the customer dirty. How long can you survive in that dishonesty? So the person with honesty, the person with the hunger for hard work, the person who is driven and disciplined, that guy is shining at the top. It does not matter on what level of the socio-economic ladder they are climbing on. It does not matter. Those ingredients right there. And young men need to harness that, because it's completely lost in our society. Yeah.
That is true. And also, I think maybe my last statement will be that
Yeah.
I want to thank you for encouraging young men
Yes.
in the world today.
Yeah.
Most young men are not encouraged. Plus, we have talked about the hero-making machine and the role models. We have been given wrong role models by the society today to look up to. But you have come in handy to equate the equation, to make balance the equation. And most young men, they are facing different challenges that they are facing in their lives. But you have come forward, and people within your circle, to spread the same gospel and to encourage young men that they can do it, they can make it, despite all the enormity and of the task that is ahead of them, and the evidence to the contrary shown to them in their glaring faces by their society, that you have encouraged them to go out there and make a life for themselves. And that is something that I say kudos to you, and continue with that good work. And for me, I appreciate what you are doing.
Thank you so much for the kind words, and you're most welcome. Let's push this together. Let's reach to more people. Let's put these stories out there so that they resonate with the same people going through the same things. There is a 22-year-old, 23-year-old guy that has done everything the society has told him to do. And then he steps into the corporate world and he fights it to be a very hostile environment. Now they know they are not alone. Now they know they are not going to suffer in silence anymore. And there is nothing better than that. That's a very invaluable information. You sharing your story, you relating your struggles, and you coming on the other side victorious. And I hope that you take the same energy, that they did not deem your enthusiasm, they did not deem your energy, they did not deem your hunger in these murky waters, so that when you go to the country you are about to adapt, you win, and you win, and you win. We'll be reading about you in the newspapers of the future. Okay?
That's true. That's true, Jordy. But may I end up with I end with a quote?
Yes, sir.
There is a quote by Shakespeare that says that all the world is a stage, and all men and women are merely players, with their exits and entrances, and each man plays one part at a time. So I think we as men, we just come in this world. You play your part, and then you leave. But you have to play it well, because it comes within you.
Yes.
And thank you very much, George.
Yes. There are no second chances to first impressions. Play your part well. Thank you so much, my friend. See you on the other side. Keep me updated on your wins when you go to the country you are about to adapt, and win, win, and win. And win an extra one for me. All right?
Thank you very much. All right, that is the motto of the man.
Thank you. You're done.